Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Welcome back to the AFC Newsday channel. We're back with another video, a bit more of a special here on the channel. So please, before we start, make sure you smash the subscribe button and you like the video and turn on notifications too so you stick around and don't miss whenever we upload. We've got a special guest on today. Matt, we're bringing quite a few special guests onto the channel recently, haven't we? It's been good. It's been nice to chat to other people other than just ourselves, hasn't it?
Yeah, always a pleasure. I mean, you're coming through with some fantastic guests, and I mean, so many people, amazing people on social media we've spoken to, and are such lovely people. And it's fantastic to have another one on today.
100%, 100%. So let's get straight into it. Please do make sure to subscribe. And today we've got a special with the one and only. We've got Eduardo Hagn making his debut on the channel. Edu, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, thankfully, and I hope you guys are doing well as well. And let's get it cracking.
Let's get it cracking. Let's get it cracking. How's Arsenal been treating you? Obviously, you're out. You're the other side of the world to us. You're over in South America. What kind of time are you getting Arsenal games local time to you?
Well, it depends. Around 7:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
Okay.
That's the time span. So, yeah, when we play at 7, it's not ideal, but I always tend to be there 30 minutes before to catch everything and whatever the team news are coming in. You know what I do on X now, formerly
X,
Twitter.
yeah.
So
Funny,
yeah,
yeah.
but they're treating me right. I think apart from Fulham, I think the game last week was not last week, not 2 weeks ago was sensational. I screamed, I sneezed in my living room. So yeah, I'm quite happy. I think we're gonna go to Everton tomorrow and probably gonna get a win after like 6 years. So yeah, quite excited for that.
We hope so. I mean, Arsenal haven't won in their past 5 trips to Everton, and Matt's going. Matt's actually got a ticket, so Matt, we're hoping you
Nice.
can be our lucky charm. Although
Hopefully,
your away record's not too good, is it? When you go into Arsenal games, is it?
no, not good. I mean, my first one I went to was a 4-1 win at Leeds, which was fantastic, and then since then we've lost against Newcastle City and Southampton without scoring. But that's a bogey team and City and Newcastle. So there's that. And one thing we didn't mention is Gabriel Jesus, who will probably start, has a brilliant record against Everton. So hopefully that can fall into our hands.
Yeah, five and
Absolutely.
six, 5-6 for Gabriel Jesus.
Sure, yeah, the odds are in his favour, definitely, for at Goodison Park. We'll do a little preview first of all. We won't go too much into it because we've already done our Everton preview. But I mean, Edu, just to talk about the game tomorrow at Everton, how are you feeling? Do you feel confident?
Well, you see, when you see Everton play, you should always feel confident with the team we have. But it's Goodison Park, the atmosphere, and the fact that it's a Sean Dyche team that it has a lot of physicality, a lot of height. Onana, Dukure, Ganagay, and now they have Beto, who he's tall, he's strong as well. So it's not going to be an easy game, that's for sure. But I think if we get the first goal quickly, we can open the gates and we can win comfortably. If not, we're going to have to suffer until the last minute, probably. But I'm pretty confident away from home more than I'm at home because we don't tend to make mistakes. So I think that's going to be an important factor. And I think it's now the time that we put that Goodison Park curse on the bed. So that's it.
Yeah, can Arsenal break the hoodoo at Goodison Park? Matt, you know, it's an interesting game. Do you feel confident going to the match? You've got a ticket. I know Curran said he's looking forward to the journey up with you. I'm sure you've got to behave yourself and not tell too many bad jokes up there. But you know, how are you feeling ahead of the game tomorrow? Have you got any last minute nerves at all?
Um, I'm very excited. I think I'm generally quite an optimistic person, particularly with Arsenal. So any game we kind of go into, obviously within reason, I feel very good about. I mean, now there's not even a within reason about it, but before there was. But yeah, I feel good going into the game. I mean, these curses are there to be broken. And when you actually break down some of the losses and some of the drop points against Everton over the years, it's pretty farcical. Like you had last season, no, the season before that, when Damari Gray just banged on in the
Oof.
96th minute, just last kick of the game. We weren't good that day at all in general, but for him to go and do that, you've had a few contentious decisions in the past. it's just been a place where weird things have happened. So hopefully we just play our game, do things normally. As Edu said, with Sean Dyche and obviously Everton being the bogey team they are, it won't be a walk in the park, but hopefully we just get the job done and play our normal stuff. And I can't wait for to be there, really. It's a ground I've wanted to tick off for a while, so that should be good fun. It's my first away in a while, so yeah.
First of the season?
Yeah,
If you don't count Wembley.
First since City in the Cup last year. First Prem one
Oh, okay.
since Newcastle. That dreaded Monday night after top four.
Oh, yeah. That was a curse game, that was. Edu, we're talking to you in the middle of September. I can imagine it's a bit more of a chill time of year compared to, a few months ago when the transfer season was, in full swing. How's the transfer window been for you? It's all finished now. You're across loads of news and stories on your account. What was your daily routine like, would you say, when transfer season's in full swing?
Well, when it's in full swing, I wake up at 4 a.m. And I sleep remotely. So I take an hour at a time. So I wake up at 3, I wake up at 4, I wake up at 5. And if there's something, I share it and then I go back to bed. So I think the transfer window was quite interesting. Not how I was used to for Arsenal in the last few years or since I began, because we did everything in the beginning and then we didn't do anything else after that. So I missed transfer deadline move and all of those exciting endorphins that you get from those last minute deals. But I think we did all right. I think you would have liked Saka backup or another center back since Timber went down. But in general, we got our record signing. We got Timber, who in the long term is going to be very important for us. We got Kai Havertz, who I personally back, and I know many people don't, but I think he's going to do brilliant for us in the long run. And yeah, I think it's and David Raya. I think many people forget that we signed a high quality backup goalkeeper that he could easily be number one, and I can't wait to see him get his chance and do what he can do.
For sure. I mean, we'll go into Kai Havertz a little bit more in detail a little bit later, but on Timber specifically, he looked like a great signing and in pre-season, really impressive. Were you a little bit disappointed Arsenal didn't get I know the market's difficult, but like a stopgap to some extent, someone to cover maybe in a loan deal until January or through to the end of the season?
Yeah, definitely. I think we have players that are very good right now, like Tomiyasu and Zinchenko, that can cover. At least Zinchenko can cover left back and midfield, and Tomiyasu can cover everything. So, but the problem is that they're injury prone. So we're actually hedging our bets that they stay fit and a new injury doesn't occur. So I think, given the history they have with us, it was quite a risk to leave ourselves short. But in the end, you can't really blame them because the strategy last few years has been to only recruit players that fit the team in the long term, and that's worked for us. So you have to give them the benefit of the doubt, and let's hope that Timber returns as soon as possible and before the season ends.
Yeah, before the season ends will be a big boost, but I don't know. I feel like I prepare myself for the worst and hope for the best, and just
Yeah,
think he's gone for the season, and you hope he'd be back earlier, but he might have to just make do with someone else,
I
covering for
have.
now.
I have the hope that he turns like Memphis Depay, who recovered in 5 months and started playing straight back. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would be incredible, but we'll wait and see with Yuri and Timber. Edu, let people know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people already do know who you are, but what you do. You say in your Twitter bio, you're hoping to be a journalist in the future. You're studying at the moment. How's that going for you?
Yeah, it's an interesting story because when I first came to Chile, I started studying computer engineering. Since South American families always have all the hopes on one person when they go to university for the first time. That was the career everybody wanted for me, and I wasn't really sure. I thought that I liked it, and after the first semester, I said, "No, this is not for me. I don't see myself studying and working next to my computer my whole life." So I went with what I thought was my passion, which was sports and journalism. So Yeah, you see the field here; it's quite limited, but I made them see that I was quite good at it, and they believed in me. So you have to appreciate that confidence. And now, yeah, I've been doing what I do on Twitter, which is be a content aggregator, or sometimes I get my own scoops and things like that, and opinion based tweets or posts now. But yeah, it's been 7 long years of work, and yeah, I just keep going with happiness, with pride, because it's what I love. And yeah, following Arsenal, it's like one of my favorite parts of life in the end. So I assume for you guys too. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. The
Yeah,
question
and
is,
go on.
just to ask you as well, what got you into Arsenal to start with?
That's a great story. A lot of people assume that's because of Alexis Sanchez and the fact that he's Chilean and that correlates. But no, when I was young, I've always loved football. So the first game that I saw live, they used to air the Premier League on live TV here. So a lot of people you got the opportunity to see Ronaldo and Manchester United at 2007-8. And in that time, I saw the game where we played against them and we lost 2-1 at the Emirates, or Old Trafford. I think they won with a Hargreaves goal. And yeah, I fell in love with the club from the first moment. I loved Van Persie, shame. I loved Fabregas,
Oh.
shame. I love Nasri. I
Oh,
love
Shame.
da-
Oh, blow
dagger
after
after
blow.
dagger after
Yeah.
dagger.
yeah. So it was a shame, and then I started watching most Arsenal games since I was like 7 or 8, and I watched San Siro, Arsenal Milan, and Fabregas got a brace. That game really got me locked in, and from then on, I've been an Arsenal fan my whole life.
Brilliant.
Nice one, man. Nice one. And this time of year, you said that the timings for the games, it's not too intense. So, I hope you do relax and take it a bit easier after those
Yeah.
crazy months during the transfer window. I definitely couldn't do that. So, I mean, respect to you
No,
for that one.
thank you, thank you. And well, now the Champions League games are coming in. I'm probably gonna have class in university, but you better be sure that I'm gonna be watching from there. And I'm not gonna pay attention to class, but I'm gonna be right next tutoring and posting for Arsenal.
Yeah. So when you're in a lecture about some sort of media law or something, and then
Yeah,
Arsenal score a goal in the Champions League, everyone's going to turn around and be like,
I,
"Who's
I'm
screaming that
probably
about
gonna
there?" Someone.
stand up. Yeah, I mean the Champions League is something that really gets you off your seat. Of course, when that anthem plays, like your skin, you have that feeling that's something special. And I hope we get to Wembley and we win the thing, so they can't mock us anymore that we've never won at UCL. So yeah, that would be very nice.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's a bit weird saying get to Wembley for the Champions League final this year,
Yeah.
um, but there we go. I did want to just talk about the Champions League group for a second because Arsenal's group, they've got Sevilla, Lens, and they've got PSV Eindhoven, and I've just done a little bit of research yesterday actually looking at the teams Arsenal have got in their groups, and I mean in La Liga, Sevilla are bottom at the moment. They've
Wow.
played 3 games and they've got 0 points. They're dead bottom, and in League One as well. Just looking at the table now, Lons haven't been doing too well either. They sit 17th out of 18. So, I mean, you'd be pretty confident, Eddie, wouldn't you? That I mean, I haven't had a chance to look at where PSV Eindhoven. I'll look in a second, but you'd be pretty confident that Arsenal should hopefully be able to, if they can, wrap this group up pretty early.
Yeah, definitely. Sevilla, of course, they're a cup team. I don't think you can easily judge them by their league stands, but I think they've lost important players and they don't have the coaches that they used to have to take them forward, like they did with Emery, they did with Setien. So yeah, I think it's gonna be an. I wouldn't say easy because the Champions League is never easy, but you see groups like the one that Newcastle got, so that's a problem.
Yeah,
So you
God.
see. But I think we should be pretty confident and we should top the group easily. So yeah, we
sure.
I was really pleased with the nice avenues that we're gonna go to because there's teams that they're gonna have to go play Eastern Europe and those trips are gonna be quite long and then they're gonna have to play 3 days later. So yeah, we got ourselves a nice advantage in that term.
Yeah, definitely. And PSV are actually second in the Eredivisie at the moment. 3 games, 3 wins. So,
Yeah, we
if
saw how
anything,
hard they are. We saw how hard they are last year.
yeah,
I
absolutely,
think
yeah.
what's interesting as well about all the teams in our group is, I mean, PSV could have lost more, the damage could have been worse, but pretty much every team in our group has lost key players. You look at Lens, they lost Openda to Leipzig and Fofana to, I think he went to a Saudi Arabian club.
Yeah,
So those are two massive players for them. I think they did buy Wahi, I think it is.
yeah. Wahi from
And
Montpellier.
yeah, and quite a few others, I think. But those are two massive players for them. And PSV, they could have lost Johan Bakayoko to a host of clubs, Brentford, most likely, but he
They, they,
stayed.
they lost their most important player, Xavi Simons.
Yep,
Yeah,
Simons and Sangare as well are gone.
Yeah.
So that's another thing where it's a good team, but they've lost two key players, and that just works in our favour.
remind me again, where did Xavi Simon go? Because he had a buyback clause at PSG,
Uh,
didn't he, or something?
he went back to PSG and then he went on loan to Leipzig.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, no, I remember that game at the Emirates when Arsenal played PSV, and he really did impress me in that match. But thankfully, no more Europa League games at the Emirates this season. So yeah, that's a nice plus for Arsenal fans going to that one. Edu, I'll ask you now actually because we've got Matt's take on it a few times, but. Kai Havertz is someone that continues to divide opinion on the Twitter timeline and across Arsenal, even in the stadium with his performances. He's missing some big chances, which is, fair to say. But there again, he does do some good work off the ball and a lot of people calling for patience. What's your take on Kai Havertz, Edu?
Well, I call for patience due to the fact that he's been playing at center forward for the last 3 years, and you can't shoehorn a player into a new position that really requires system specificity. So I think you can only judge him for 4 games. He's just uh, trying to fit in, and look, his confidence from a long time has been shot down, and the constant abuse doesn't help him at all. So I think we as Arsenal fans, we know we've made an investment that's a huge risk, but what you have to give him the best platform possible for him to succeed, and that's not going to be saying no, he's shit. Let's sell him to the best buyer right now, so we don't lose money in the end. And look, I saw Kai Havertz when he was 18, 20 at Bayer Leverkusen. He was a special talent. We all remember when we were young that Kai Havertz was one of the best, if not the best talent in the world. So the height spurt didn't help him. He was 6'1" by then. Now he's 6'5", around there. And now his game is totally different. He plays with his back to goal, and you can see him. And when he holds up play or links up, it's not smooth as you would like it to be. But we can all work that around that because he does have a good vision. He does have good. He does stick his leg in. He doesn't hide away from the opportunity. So you could say that his body language is a bit sluggish, but it's just his style. I mean, he could be quite confident in himself, and that's why he plays like that. But I would call for patience. In the end, you're playing him in a role that it doesn't demand goals, so you can't judge him for his output either. So we saw Granit Xhaka play a fantastic last year, and he got 7 and 7. I can guarantee you that if Havertz really does cement himself in the system, he quite easily double that. So I think we have to give him time, and I'm pretty sure tomorrow he's gonna start, because if you drop him now, everything that you envisioned with him probably is gonna go down the drain, and you can integrate a player from the bench in the last 15, 20 minutes. As great as Fabio Vieira has been, you've made a 65 million move for Havertz because you want him in your starting 11 in the long term.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to ask you that. Fabio Vieira's looked really good off the bench, and he's someone that I think was a little bit underwhelming last season, but in pre-season, the opening games, he's come on, he's made an impact, he's looked really sharp. But I mean, Aaron said it on our last episode that he feels the physicality at Goodison Park will be something that Havertz will, he'll cherish, he'll rise to.
Yeah, definitely. I think you have to go game by game, because Fabio Vieira has been incredible against the low blocks we've faced, and yeah, we're not going to have a probably an easy team to play against. And you think Onana Doucouré against Fabio Vieira, who's not the biggest or the tallest, there's going to be a difference there. So in this case, you'd hope that Kai Havertz does his best, and he can finally refine his attacking form and what he could do in at the third part of the field.
Yeah, Matt, you'll be thinking maybe if Arsenal are chasing the game at Goodison Park, then bringing someone on like Fabio Vieira might be a good move from the manager, Matt, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's an interesting one because on paper you'd say you shouldn't start Fabio Vieira, and I do agree in this case, particularly Goodison and particularly how it's been in the past. But at the same time, we went to Newcastle, one of the most physical teams in the league, and played Xhaka, Jorginho, and Odegaard, and people were very much not up in arms, but like, oh, such a weak physical type of midfield, other than obviously Granit Xhaka, going to Newcastle. And I think there's other examples where we've played even like a Vieira instead of a Xhaka there, and it's worked out completely fine. So I don't think it's a complete write-off per se, but I think it's better for Havertz to start at Goodison.
Looking from one slight conundrum, I mean, Kai Havertz isn't really a conundrum, but from one kind of situation to another, Emil Smith Rowe's still yet to play a single minute this season. Edu, what do you think needs to happen for him to come into the side? Do you hope he'll maybe when the cup competitions, the Champions League in midweek? Do you hope to see Emil Smith Rowe involved in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all know how good Emil Smith Rowe is, and it's a shame that from being one of the most important players and being the first name on the team sheet 2 seasons ago, uh, for him to just not get a minute, it's quite sad. But it's been the injuries, and as you know, systems evolve, and you see, I can't see him doing what Martinelli does right now, which is cover the whole flank and do everything he does. And I don't know if he's what Arteta envisions in his left eight role either. So uh, maybe, just maybe, I think he's not in the long term plans, and he's someone that we're gonna have to say bye to next summer. Hopefully for a hefty fee, and then we reinvest. But I think we tend to get very close emotionally to players, especially Hale end products. But sometimes they don't all fit. Happened with Balogun too. So and I think will end up happening with Eddie too. Sadly, Gabriel Jesus is going to be the starting center forward, and I don't know how much Eddie was going to hold that patience after performing well, and then knowing that the next week, if Jesus is fit, he's going to play. So it's sad, but in my opinion, Smith Rowe is going to get very limited minutes going forward because it's evident. I've seen us not go with Martinelli and then put Trossard in. So you see, he's very down the pecking order, and it's either he rises up to the occasion and blows everybody out of the water, or he's going to have to say his goodbyes to Arsenal.
I think it is also important to say, though, I think Smith Rowe is very transition suited, and I think that could be very useful in European games. So obviously we've had, our first 3 games of the season, and with 3 or 4, I think it's 4. Yeah, 4. We've had our first 4 games of the season, and we've played 1 game a week every week. So I feel like it's kind of difficult to say said player will play this many minutes or won't. For example, Reece Nelson only had his first few minutes against Man United, and he was a absolute shining light back end of last season. Obviously, that Bournemouth moment, the whole Bournemouth game in itself. So I think that'll be interesting to see in its early days. But Edu, the question to you is, how do you think Arsenal will rotate between the Champions League and the Premier League? Because, of course, it's the Champions League. It doesn't matter what we have on paper. It will be taken very seriously. So how do you think it's best to rotate between the Premier League and the Champions League?
You see, as you say, Champions League is not like the Europa League when you can change a whole 11 and put your reserves and give chances to youngsters. So probably that's going to happen if we win the group after 5 games and there's an extra game to spare. And that's where people are going to see minutes. But I don't see much rotation going into the important Champions League games because of the fact that you play every game, and every game's it's like the end. So I don't see, probably we're going to change in 1 or 2 positions, but I don't think we're going to see any restructuring or a whole different 11 when we play against PSV at Holland or Lens at France. So Yeah, I think the rotation is going to come at the Carabao, at the FA Cup, but in terms of the Champions League, those minutes are going to be left for the starting 11, for Rice, for Odegaard, for Gabriel Jesus, for Martinelli, Saka, the ones that we know. So I think players are going to get less minutes than last year. I think it's bad news for the ones that don't have much minutes, but uh, it is what it is. That's football, sadly, and it moves fast. And if you want that spot, you're going to have to work your socks up for it.
I think Arsenal are in a good position with a lot of their players where if they rotate, they're not necessarily going to weaken the 11 as much as they would have done in previous years. But I still personally just do worry a little bit about the midfield position. And I think especially like the six, if Declan Rice does come out, then with Thomas Partey's injury at the moment, there's not as much cover there. But definitely in the forward line, you can play any kind of combination, and you're not necessarily weakening the 11. So Arsenal looking much more secure there, I'd say, than in previous years.
I would
Um,
love to. I would love to say before we move on that Jorginho has been a signing that I wasn't really a fan of when it happened, but I think he's exceeded my expectations quite profoundly. So yeah, I think he's been a great addition. He's a great mentor. I love how players speak about him, and when he's come in, he's played well. And I think when you remember when we had holding protocol, when we had to win a game, now we have Jorginho protocol, and we look much better. So yeah, just thought I'd put that out there because I don't think he gets the flowers he deserves after the performances and the influence he's had on the team.
Just
no,
before we move on to just before we move on to the next topic, I thought it was interesting to mention. Obviously, Dan, you mentioned the sixth position with Partey out, and Edu, you mentioned Jorginho's role into the team since he's joined the club. Obviously, we have a lot of eights, a lot of players who can cover as eights. We've seen Vieira come on. Obviously, Havertz has started. Martin Odegaard, of course. You've got Trossard, who played there in pre-season, and so on and so forth. Do you think that opens a door for natural eights like a Charlie Patino who's out on loan or a future signing, whoever that may be, for a position or a profile which we don't really have in the squad at the minute?
Yeah, definitely. We either have sixes or we either have tens that are eights. So that tempo controller that is gonna play there on all face number eight, it's needed. So I think Arteta's vision was to put Havertz there, but let's see if that mystery risk does pan off. But in general, we do like that profile. So I think if Charlie Patino comes back and makes that position his own, he's going to have a lot of minutes.
I do hope he comes back because the noises I've heard from his camp is that it almost seems like you know from what I was told he was gone almost at the start of the window. His camp would just had one thing on their minds of if we're not getting the minutes we need, then Charlie's going to get them elsewhere, and they almost I think had that conversation with Arsenal and they told them, look, you're not going to get the minutes you need, and Arsenal and Charlie Patino look set to part ways. But I think almost it comes across now from this isn't my information, but from what we can see online, is that there's almost been a little bit of a U-turn, and certain people within his camp have been a little bit more reluctant to kind of, assertedly say, yeah, he's going, he's staying. So maybe Arsenal have just gone, go out on loan this season. He's not got masses left on his deal, and then maybe see next campaign after the loan season if we can reintegrate you, or we'll maybe move you on from there. So let's wait and see with Charlie Patino. But I've got a little bit more hope than I had back at the start of the summer. So yeah, we'll see with that one, guys. If you are watching at the moment, please make sure to subscribe if you're not already. We've got plenty more Arsenal content coming up this month and surrounding the games. We've just been going since the start of the season, and support's been fantastic. So please do subscribe, and you'll get to see Matt's beautiful face every week and more brilliant guests like Edu on. So please do make sure you subscribe. Looking ahead to January, Edu, because I know transfer season is your favourite time of the year, I'm sure. Looking ahead to January, I know it's a while off, but I wanted to ask you, what areas do you think Arsenal might look to strengthen in, or do you think they'll be relatively quiet during this window?
You'd assume they would be quiet because they don't tend to do much business in January's, at least since Arteta and Edu took over. So if there's something we could do is probably get Saka backup, which I think is going to be important because you could argue that Reece Nelson could do a shift there, but Reece's best position is at left wing, in my opinion. And then Leandro Trossard doesn't play in the right wing either, so you're going to have to find specificity. And I think I saw a report like a week ago that said that Arsenal did make an inquiry on Pedro Neto. So I doubt Wolves are going to be able to are going to want to sell by that point because financially they're quite stagnant. But it's always nice to see us make moves, and I think he's a player that Arteta has liked for a long time. So that's one that we could see happening either then or the summer. And I would like another center back personally because I think if William Saliba goes down, it's not looking good. Even though Tomiyasu looked brilliantly against Germany in the center back role. So, but then if you put Tomiyasu at center back, you're gonna be missing a fullback. So you're gonna have to make a decision there. So yeah, it's either one of those two positions because I think we're quite covered in the rest of the team.
Matt,
As you say,
you'd be very excited, Matt. You'd be very excited if Pedro Neto came in, Matt, wouldn't you? You're a big fan.
Yeah, I was massive fan. Yeah, I was going to mention him after Edu mentioned him. Obviously, the time of recording is Wolves versus Liverpool, and he put a brilliant assist for Hwang. But more importantly, I think the injury problems he's had has always been a bit of a concern for any possible suitors. And I guess now it kind of means that the price would be a lot higher. But I think it's a Mendes client, which is big, and a player who, as you say, Dan, Arsenal or Arteta's liked for a long while. And you can see why. His profile, he's electric, he's skillful, he's unpredictable, he's quick. So can't complain, really. And I'm a massive fan of his. As you say, though, I don't think it would be one which would happen in January. Particularly, obviously depends on Wolves' situation. But already this season, I think he's got the most assists. And I think we're talking about a player who hadn't had too many goal contributions to merit the quality of player they were offering. So great to see with that. And I am a huge fan of him, and I would be delighted if it was to happen, so long as there is squad space for him. It may take one outgoing for that to be added. As we've mentioned, we have so many attackers, so we don't want to overpack the squad.
Childhood Arsenal fan too.
Yeah. Is he? Oh,
yeah, in an interview, yeah.
There you go. Better. There you go. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think as well, there's a lot of talk about not necessarily January, but I think in the summer, that big kind of number 9 signing. And I mean, Matt's dream is Osimhen from Napoli, but we'll wait and see with that one. A long way away, but go on.
My personal choice there. I mean, I know it's a very unpopular opinion, and I've said it on Twitter. I think we should go for Evan Ferguson.
Oh no, that's a shout. To be fair,
I think that's too unpopular. I was waiting to hear Vlahovic, to be honest, when you said unpopular.
Yeah, but no. I think Evan has the future. I think he's the future of the Premier League at the number 9 spot. And when I see him, I see Harry Kane, but with better athleticism, and that's just an insane player. What he could be, not what he is right now. But at 18, getting a hat trick against a tough team like Newcastle, it's something that you have to take into consideration.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's always been the injuries for him, but if he can get himself fit and play for the whole season and he gets over 15 goals, you can't say no, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Tony Bloom. That's a big
problem. Tony Bloom, yeah. Eddie would, call Tony Bloom, he'd pick up the phone. He'd say, Evan Ferguson, he'd say, for you, my friend, 200 million.
Yeah, you know what? It's pick your poison, really. It's either that or I can't remember his name, but
De
Laurentiis. You're not getting a player of his of that quality for cheap, that's for sure. So we'll have to see with that one. And I thought, Edu, you mentioned the defender cover you'd like to see. Is there any possible names you have in mind for like a January move potentially?
In the last few days, the Diomande link from Sporting came on. I think we wanted it from Midtjylland a few months ago too, but he went to Sporting for 10 million. From inside the Premier League, I don't think there's much to buy, and I think in this case Arteta wants a a center back more than a fullback, and you see those come around so often that probably nobody saw Kivior coming. So as of right now, I can't tell you really a name that comes to my head because in the Premier League markets, everything's so inflated. So opportunities from the other top 5 leagues. I heard we were looking at Germany, and you could say Mohamed Simakan. So those are names that could arise, but as of right now, I am not sure.
Dan, you got any names there, or just more profile of a centre back type?
There's a young lad at Crystal Palace, Rob Holding. I've heard he's quite a good player. You know, he's been
Very young, yeah.
No, but I don't know. Mark Gay, he's a good player.
Yeah,
but I do think Jurriën Timber that injury just really was a major inconvenience. I think it's it's not going to derail Arsenal's season or anything, but I was so excited to see him this season, and it's just a big blow, and you hope that this ACL injury just doesn't majorly limit him when he does come back eventually. Edu, Jadon Sancho in January, is that something you'd be interested in at all?
No, I think we are quite good with project signings that we have to save. I think Jadon Sancho, he was a fantastic talent, but I've always doubted his physicality in terms of what he could offer on the wing and in terms of how our wingers operate. I think he's not a fit because Martinelli and Saka are quite like right wing back and left wing back that have to do both roles because they go down the flank the whole game. So I doubt Sancho can do that role easily, and I don't see him through the middle either because we don't play with a 10, and both of our 8s have their defensive responsibilities. So I don't think that's one for us. At least it could be for Chelsea. They love buying expensive players. So for us, I would say no.
No, no. It's an interesting situation. It's the latest episode in the soap opera that is Manchester United Football Club. But yeah, it's non-stop entertainment over there, and Erik ten Hag continues to throw players under the bus. So
Brighton today as well, Bayern midweek. That's not 2 games you really want when things aren't going so well for you.
Oh yeah, huge game, and I stand by what I said. I don't think they'll get Champions League, and they might not even get Europa League at this rate. But long way to go. But we'll wait and see with that one. Edu, I did just want to kind of wrap up and talk about contracts at Arsenal because it's felt like a breath of fresh air, really, where contracts Arsenal have been really proactive with these deals, and the likes of Bukayo Saka, Gabby Martinelli, William Saliba, all these deals. You think maybe 5 years ago you'd really start to sweat when it gets to this time of the window, but Arsenal were just getting them done, and there's no real stress that Arsenal are going to sell their best players and these people aren't going to be at the club, and who on earth are we going to get in? People want to stay. They bought into the project and they want to be a part of it. The latest in this seems to be Martin Odegaard and Ben White, and all the noises coming out are that Martin Odegaard's close to agreeing a new deal to sign, extend his stay at Arsenal, and Ben White will hopefully just be a formality as well. How nice does it feel after all the pain of players leaving and running their contracts down to see Arsenal being proactive with keeping their talent at the club?
Yeah, it feels fantastic, and I think that's related to the team's performance overall and the project. When you have a team that it's competing against probably the best team we've ever seen in the Premier League, and we took them to the final few games, every player would want to be part of this team. The atmosphere, the culture is different, and it looks like we're not settling for less like we used to do. I remember when we were in 2015, 2016. We needed something to go out there and win the league, and we didn't. We just bought Czech, and those things players see it. They're not blind from that, and you see from all the heartbreaks that I've had through Van Persie, Fabregas, Nasri,
Alexis Sanchez
to an extent. It's quite so nice it's quite nice to see that now all of our players are not. It's not even a discussion. We already know that they're going to sign and they feel comfortable here. So we have the big ones already tied down. William Saliba, Martinelli, Saka, and even to a lesser extent when we extended Balogun. Now we made profit because of that, because he could have easily left for free. So we've really made that jump in terms of contract negotiations in and out of the field too, because that's what really matters. You could be a great negotiator, but if your team's fighting for relegation, I'm pretty sure these players won't want to stay here. So as a project as a whole, we are probably in the best moment we've been in over a decade.
I feel like it's also quite weird because we're so used to being like, get rid of this player, get rid of this player, get rid of this player. And now whenever you see a transfer link to our players, for 99% of them, you're like, no, you're not going anywhere.
So, you laugh it off sometimes. When I see Liverpool fans, when Salah goes, we're gonna get Saka. It's like, what are you talking about?
and also with these players, if Arsenal are going to lose them, you're going to have to come and pay like a king's ransom to come and get them. Like if Liverpool want Saka, you're talking well north of 100 million, maybe in the 150s. I'd even argue that there's not a price you can pay to get Bukayo Saka, almost like unless you're giving money that can go and take Vinicius Junior out of Real Madrid or like huge players.
Not even that, to be fair, because profile-wise, he's just completely obsolete on the market.
Like even the amount of money you can pay, I don't think there's you can't replace what Bukayo Saka means to Arsenal, the fans, and also what he gives on the pitch as well. But yeah, Matt, it's just nice to see, isn't it? Arsenal being really proactive, and it looks like their captain Martin Odegaard will be extending his stay at Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, the best way to describe Saka's stuff is, those bonkers La Liga release clauses which Barca and Real put on their players. Pay that or off your pop.
Yeah.
3 billion but yeah.
3 billion.
Yeah. I mean, some of them are quite funny. It'll be like some youth player who's just come through. You've not heard of them and they've got a 500 million one, but that's for La Liga, who have a permanent release clause on them. But yeah, really exciting. Well, obviously we spoke about all the contract stuff in the summer already. Saliba, Saka, as we've mentioned, even someone like Nwaneri is such a big move. And the women's side of the game as well, Alessia Russo and a few other signings recently too. I can't remember her name, but we signed someone just 2 days ago, I think it is.
Yeah, Connie Cross.
There we go, lovely. But it's just excelling on all fronts, showing that we want to be there in everything and win everything, which is almost like the City mentality, which has taken them so far. And that's really exciting to see a club with huge ambition, a club which is moving really quickly in decisive areas, and a club which just isn't stopping. As you say, obviously that year we signed Petr Cech and we needed a lot more. It's just so refreshing to see huge ambition, but also sensible, not, just going gung-ho at everything. You could probably guess who that's referring to, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to name that. This is a safe place. You can call people out.
Yeah,
call
clubs out. A certain club in blue. That's
Chelsea. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Matt, thank you for being here as always, and Edu, it's been a pleasure to have you on. And thanks so much for showing some love and jumping on.
No, it's absolutely a fantastic opportunity. I love to help people, and I love to be part of these things. So I'd love to come in more often, and so we can have a new chat, probably, hopefully, at the top of the league and at the top of the group of the Champions League table. And good things are coming for us this season, hopefully, and we win one of the big ones. That's what we all want. I have a question for you guys. This is not my program, but I made this question the other day. The Premier League or the Champions League?
Oh, that's easy. Champions League. It's got to be the Champions League because it's the one thing that rival clubs can hold against Arsenal. Oh, you've not won the European trophy. Yes, Arsenal have won the Premier League before, but for me, it's got to be the Champions League.
I think it's one of those where any other club, which isn't Arsenal, or any club who's as you say, get mocked for not winning it or anything like that. For me, the answer is the Premier League. For any team like a Chelsea or whatever who's won it. For us, because we've not won the Champions League, it has to be the Champions League.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. Eddie, what was your take on it? Have you got a...
Yeah, for me, it's the Champions League. You see, I would love to see my team win the Premier League. I've never seen it before, and it would be brilliant because I think when you win a tournament throughout 38 games, it means that you've been exceptional. But the Champions League is something that really as a kid, you always dream of your team holding those two big years. And if I could see Martin Odegaard, Saliba, and all of this brilliant group with that trophy, that would be the most happy I've been as an Arsenal fan probably my whole life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you just want success for the group now. You know, they're playing good football. You need the success
yeah,
that comes with it as well. And yeah,
definitely.
hopefully good times for Arsenal.
Just manifest it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, hopefully good times coming for Arsenal. And Edu, you know, good things coming from you. What can people expect? What you know, have you got anything in the pipeline that
Ooh.
people can check out or anything?
You see, I've thought about making a YouTube channel for a long time, and yeah, I think that's gonna be something I do quite soon. You see, I love watching those match reactions, so I'd love to film myself on a live watching the game. You're probably gonna
Yeah.
see me go bunkers, but I'd love that. So yeah, I think that's something a little something that you can expect from me, and of course my usual stuff on X as usual.
Absolutely. And if you're not already, then you can follow Edu. The link will be in the description for his Twitter if you're not already. But yes, please make sure to subscribe, guys. Like the video, turn on notifications. You can follow myself and Matt on Twitter as well. You can follow at AFC Newsday for all the latest news, Arsenal content, clips from the best bits of our show. So please do make sure to do that. Matt, any final words?
We're also on we're expanding on other social medias as well. We've got
Yeah.
a TikTok and an Instagram, and of course the Twitter and YouTube. And same AFC Newsday handle. So feel free to drop them a follow.
Please do. Links will be in the description for that as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and we'll see you again very soon.